Always happy to chat hockey. I'm also always happy to go to Southern California. And let's do that now. Annie O'Donnell joins us. She talks about the Ducks. She covers the Ducks. OD on Sports podcast. She's big on TikTok. Hey, Annie, I didn't know what I was going to get. Brunette, blonde, what's your deal, man? Thanks for coming on. How are things down in SoCal? What's going on?
We're about to enter into a huge heat wave right now in September, so preparing for that. But otherwise, beautiful and sunny, not a cloud.
Okay, well, I am jealous, but it's nice here in South Florida too, where, hey, it's when you have a chance to talk hockey with somebody. Yeah, when you have a chance to talk hockey with somebody in a Sunbelt region, you love it, right? Clearly, you are that same person. So let's talk about the Ducks. I've got them picked to make the playoffs this year, but I had them picked to make the playoffs last year, and they disappointed me. What are you expecting out of this team coming up this year?
You know, this is a really building year as far as the rebuild goes for the Ducks. Obviously, you got Pat Verbeek's first full year as general manager of the team. Dallas Eakins is entering that contract, not extension, but they gave him an option year. So this is kind of a, hey, 1 year with a new GM, show me what you can do. You've got Troy Terry coming up on the last year of his contract. If he can put up another year like he did last year, got to think he's going to be getting big money. Trevor Zegras, Jamie Drysdale are going to be up for extensions on their rookie deals. So basically, on this season, I feel like Pat Verbeek is really planning for the long haul. It's a marathon for him. He's not building a team to make the playoffs, make a run for the cup next year. He knows what he's got in the system. So he's saying, hey, let's just kind of save some time. Let's put some guys where we need them. Let's get to the cap floor. Let's see what this team can do. And then when the young guys have had their time in juniors and in the minor leagues, let's see what we can do to get this team to the cup. I think they will have a better year than last year. I know a lot of people have them going at 7th or 8th in the Pacific. I'm like, okay, all right, let's give the Ducks a little credit here. But playoffs, maybe right on the brink, I think. Maybe they kind of toy around in a wild card spot, but I would be shocked. I will eat my words if they end up in at least that third spot. I will be shocked.
Okay, well, you clearly know what you're talking about. So we got that settled. I think I got a little ahead of myself last year picking them to be in the playoffs, only because one of their scouts is a really close friend of mine, so he was pumping their tires big to me, how great they were going to be. But they are very young. But you mentioned with Verbeek, clearly the Bob Murray situation caught them off guard last year. Do you think that affected the locker room at all? Because they were flirting with a playoff spot up close to Christmas, and then just boom, New Year, I'm like, where'd you go? Did you think that affected the team at all, having to deal with that?
I think so. I also think that for, a good majority, with the exception of Ryan Getzlaf, Bob Murray was the guy that brought a lot of these guys into the Ducks locker room. And, whether they were at the hand of the abuse that, eventually came out back in the fall, I don't know. But I know there's been stories of other players that have spoken about how he created that really toxic environment for players and texting them. And I know Pat Maroon has gone on about how he kind of gave him a hard time about coming to camp a little heavier. I do think, as far as the business side, it really puts things on edge for a lot of these guys, especially for the ones that, hey, maybe thought they were on the trading block. And they, at that time, like you said, the Ducks were playing some damn good hockey. People were saying, hey, this team, maybe the rebuild's accelerating faster than we thought. Then, of course, the hype died down a little bit come the holiday time. But I do think that getting somebody in the seat and as the GM officially really did help, even though the Ducks weren't playing great hockey at that time. And they obviously had to say goodbye to a lot of fan favorites and locker room favorites in Hampus Lindholm, Josh Manson, Ricard Raquel, Nick Delorier. But I mean, how can it not? How can it not affect, the psyche and the attitude when you have an interim GM in Jeff Solomon, who, he didn't do much. Obviously, it was kind of just a placeholder while ownership could get a permanent guy in that seat. But I think it would be hard to say that it didn't affect the players. I think as a professional athlete, unless you're a Ryan Getzlaf, unless you're, a franchise player, you're always questioning, hey, is it my time? Are they going to trade me? What's my future looking like?
I'll tell you what, I'm with you. I don't know how it couldn't affect their dressing room, but I never thought about it until you said it. So thank you. Andrew, one of our viewers, says, Annie, I think they will have a better season than people think. You are a smart lady. Merci. He is French, by the way, Francais. Andrew, you mentioned Getzlaf, longtime friend of mine, and he's finally hung it up. Ducks will be without their captain. How's that going to affect this franchise?
See, that's one of the biggest question marks for me going into next year is what they do with the captaincy. Because I think the Ducks, you can go a lot of directions here. Obviously, the longest tenured Duck left is Cam Fowler, who's been with the team since he was drafted in 2010. That's I think that's a safe bet to give him the seat. But you could also say, hey, Ryan Getzlaf has been the captain for 16 plus seasons. Let's, kind of take a page out of the New York Rangers book and say, let's just, we'll give a bunch of guys the A and we'll kind of figure out and get a groove on who we think will be the outspoken leader for this next move and then next rebuild. And then you could also take, the avenue that so many teams have taken, the Penguins, the Blackhawks, the Oilers, the Avalanche, naming one of your young guys, one of the guys that are going to be a part of this new era and this rebuild, give them that responsibility. I think there's a lot of young guys in that locker room. Not a lot, but I think, you look at Troy Terry, you look at Trevor Zegras. I think those are two guys that could sport letters in the coming future. But you also got the older veteran guys. I would have said Jakob Silfverberg, but he's on LTIR, so I don't think that would be the right move. You got an Adam Henrique there. I wouldn't love that personally, just because I do think eventually Verbeek's going to want to dump that contract. So you want somebody that's going to be there. You want somebody that's going to set the tone and be the face and the leader of that locker room that Ryan Getzlaf did so well at for his entire tenure. And honestly, I feel like some of the veteran guys in that locker room are going to kind of take the Saku Koivu, the Timu Solani route when Scott Niedermayer hung them up. Those two guys would have been easy bets, but both said, hey, this is Getsy's team. We will support him. We'll sport the A. We'll do what we need to do, but this is his team and we're on board.
Craig Smith, our director of scouting, our show's director of scouting, writes in and he says, Sweet Annie has that rock star look. He loves it. I'm going to throw one for you.
That is the biggest compliment. Oh, my goodness. I just made my day.
Right out of left field here, I was watching the World Juniors in Edmonton. Mason McTavish, I'm like, this guy is going to be the captain of the Ducks one day. Why not throw it on him as a rookie? Would that be too bold of a move, do you think?
As a rookie, I think that's a bold move. I think if they do like a temporary situation like with the A, Mason McTavish is absolutely a name that should be in contention. And I love talking about Mason McTavish because when that draft happened in 2021 and the Ducks fans were expecting so many other names in that draft to be taken, and Bob Murray goes and takes Mason McTavish at 3, and the reaction just online and with Ducks fans was just, who's this guy? Like, what's going on here? Meanwhile, everybody's on board. I was at the home opener last season and scores his first NHL goal, first goal of the season, first goal of the Ducks season even. So already off to a great foot with the fan base. And I have no doubt in my mind that he makes the team coming out of camp. I think that's a no-brainer. Kind of outgrown juniors there, and I don't think he's old enough quite yet. Something with the AHL where he wouldn't quite qualify there yet. But I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see where Dallas Eakins places him in that Ducks lineup and the line combinations to come. But absolutely, he is a name that should be talked about when it comes to guys wearing the C.
Yeah, the deal is simply he's too young to play in the American Hockey League, so unless he plays with the Ducks, he's got to go back to junior. And they're already talking that he's going to play for Canada at this year's World Juniors. And I'm like, what more is saying? But they don't ask me, Annie. Listen, we got a lot of questions have come in from our viewers, and we're out of time. So just can you tell us where people can watch your stuff, and then we'll bring you on another time because I enjoyed this. Where can they watch your stuff and listen?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. You can find me on OD on Sports podcast on all streaming platforms. I'm also on social media at Sweet Annie OD on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I post every day there. So give me a follow. I love chatting sports, all teams, all fan bases in the NHL. So let's chop it up.
Love it. All right. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate it. Have a great day down there. Stay cool.
Thanks so much. You too.
Yeah, I'm sitting here sweating my ass off. Sweet Annie O'Donnell joining us from Anaheim. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.